Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining me this evening. Today, we are going to be talking about top IRA and 401k mistakes, what you can do to address those mistakes, and then also ways to help you feel more confident when it comes to your retirement plan. Let me formally introduce myself. My name is Erich Castillo, and I'm owner of Cornerstone Wealth Management in Lexington, Kentucky. I've been doing this for almost 30 years, and as a fiduciary, my role is to make the best recommendations for my clients and to make sure that we are looking at all options to optimize my clients' plans. A big part of my focus is that as an income distribution planner. And I believe when it comes to income distribution, you need to take a look at all the tools that are out there to optimize one situation. So from CDs to Bitcoin and everything in between, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, life insurance, fixed index annuities, MIGAs, real estate, charitable remainder trust. All of those tools are attributes, and each of those attributes are designed to solve a problem. I believe that the biggest problems that many retirees face is number one, running out of money. They want to have a plan to make sure that they don't run out of money. Number two, inflation risk. Things cost more. And so, how do we still keep up with inflation? Market risk and market volatility. How do you protect the portfolio against big market drops? Long-term care and healthcare costs are the ways to address those expenses. And then another and a biggie is taxes. Taxes are going to go up. How do you save more taxes, not only now, but also in the future? So my role and what I do for my clients is I help my clients first create a reliable, predictable income stream. That is going to be the foundation for what we do and how we take care of our clients moving forward. Once I've done that, then we're going to look at ways to make the most out of their retirement assets. And then a big part is also helping them enjoy the life that they work so hard for. There is a great book that everyone should pick up. It's called Die with Zero. And the author, who is a successful energy trader, he was a hedge fund manager, Hollywood film producer, high stakes tournament poker player. He was very successful, built up a lot of wealth, but something was missing. He was missing that purpose. And Barbara Corcoran, who's a shark on Shark Tank, this is what she says about this book. If you're looking for the secret sauce to living your life to the fullest at every stage without running out of resources dry, you need to pick up this book. And I agree. So, with that, my biggest accomplishment is this right here. It's been married to my wife, Emily, for over 30 years. I met her at the University of Kentucky, and I love doing life adventures with her. So last year, we went to Europe, Greece, Croatia. On our way back, we made a stop to Amsterdam to see the Taylor Swift concert, a balloon ride out in Sedona, cruise in Florida. So I want to create an adventure that is about experiences. And that to me is what it's all about. It's part of that adventure. I also have a growing family and two great kids with their wives. So on the right is Brandon and Casey, and then on the left is Bella and Carson. And so we have a lot of fun. I cannot wait till they have kids and we have grandkids. So I'm very, very excited about our growing family. Let me also share with you my story and what brings me here today and why I love my job. And it begins with my mom and dad, Ida and Al. They were immigrants from the Philippines and they came to this country in hopes of finding a better life for themselves and their family. And my mom and dad, they were awesome parents. They were disciplined, worked hard, saved money. And I remember one of the principles that's still dear to me to this day is as a young kid, we would go to the bank And my mom would purposely write in this little black book the amount of money that she was carving out and saving for this dream house. And when that time came where they had enough money to buy the house, well, I can just remember how happy they were. They were just so excited. And to me, that was the coolest thing. And I take that to heart. That was very, very special. Let's fast forward to 2000 and 2001. And my dad gets this phone call. And it's one of those phone calls where something is wrong. And here I am, I'm doing plans. And my dad gives me a ring. He says, Eric, I just lost my job. My mom and dad, they were in their late 50s. They weren't ready to retire. And so I go to my mom and dad's house and I see them sitting at the table. And my mom, she's in tears. She doesn't know what's going to happen. Because remember, the markets are all over the place. There is a lot of volatility. And so they're seeing their portfolio dwindle. And I see my dad, he's this backbone that I remember, and he's got that deer in the headlight look. And in that moment, what I realized, this is personal. And my job was to make sure that I can take care of him. That's exactly what I did. I built this foundation, which I'm going to share with you today. And that foundation allowed them to retire unexpectedly early. And it gave them confidence knowing that what they had built up was going to last the rest of their life. Now, that plan today, it's still going strong. My dad, he recently passed away, but my mom, she's almost 80 years old. Look at her, she looks great. And she still does a lot of things like go on cruises, karaoke, dancing. She gets to spend time with the grandkids. She is living the American dream, the American life. The reason why I wanted to share with you this story is every single day I get to talk with people just like my mom and dad, and I can help them create actionable knowledge and help them make sure that no matter what happens, if the markets are going all over the place, if there's a big changes in the tax code, no matter what happens, they're going to be okay. They're going to have a plan that's going to be sustainable for the rest of their life. And so I thought it was important to share with you a little bit about my story because you need to know who this person on the other screen is. And so that is the reason why I'm here today and why I love my job. So thank you for listening in on my story. Let me share with you who my clients are. My clients are individuals who are close or in retirement, 59 to 69 years old. They are very disciplined. They've done a good job of saving. They saved over $500,000 or more in assets. They want to create a reliable income stream of anywhere between $50,000 to $500,000 or more. They also want to make the most out of their retirement accounts. They need a plan. So these are my clients. Now, where all of this will lead into is this concept called the reliable retirement income plan. And I believe that having that reliability and balancing that with opportunity, that's going to give you the best chance or probability of your money lasting. We build everything around this reliable retirement income stream and income plan. So with that, what are the top IRA and 401k mistakes? Mistake number one is ignoring and not planning for required minimum distributions. Under the Secure Act, there's been a lot of changes, and the biggest changes or the highlights of the changes as it might pertain to your particular situation is they decrease the penalty to 25% if you forget to take a required minimum distribution. And the other part of this is they raise the age of the required minimum distribution to 73, and then by 2033, it will be to age 75. So that's going to give you some great planning opportunities where you can still defer and maybe build it up in a way that's going to optimize the plan. How do we use your retirement to give you more options and more flexibility? And one way to do that is to understand how to plan around required minimum distributions. When it comes to required minimum distributions, the biggest thing is you've got to know your number. And then once you know your income number, create something that's sustainable and reliable over time. Now, why is that important and how does that relate to income? Well, when it comes to income need, you might need to draw a little bit of money to complement Social Security or pension. And so, how much do you draw out on a monthly basis to basically help create and complement those income sources? And how do you do that in a way that is reliable and predictable? Well, along the same line, you want to do that with your required minimum distributions. What does that look like in the next 5, 10, 15 years? So when you get to that point where you're going to have to start drawing money out of your account because Uncle Sam forces you to take money out of your account, are you building in the flexibility to find or create more opportunity so that you can maybe minimize taxes? Or you can look at Roth conversions to reduce future required minimum distributions, or maybe look at legacy options. So, as an example, let me share with you a study. BlackRock, one of the largest financial institutions in the world, created this study on how to optimize retirement income. So here's this money manager, and now they're focusing on how to optimize retirement income. A lot of times there are investment firms that are out there that just focus on maybe investments, or there are people that just focus on different types of protection strategies like annuities, but they're not looking at it as a whole and they're not putting it all together. Those are tools, and those tools are designed to solve a problem. So BlackRock did this, and they said if you take a holistic approach to retirement income benefits, what you'll see is by adding different types of tools like guaranteed income strategies and adjusting your asset allocation over time, what you will on average be able to generate is potentially 29% more annual spending each and every year, and you're able to reduce risk by as much as 33%. So think about that for just a second. You're able to generate more income and take less risk. Well, isn't that something that you would want to have in your retirement picture? And they're using guaranteed lifetime income, pensions, Social Security, annuities. Annuities are backed by the claims paying ability of a life insurance company. And so you're saying to yourself, why would I have that? Well, once again, it's a holistic approach. This is something that we have adapted for the last 30 years, but now there's more people that are taking a look at it because they're seeing that it works. More income and less risk. Here's an example. Mark and Jane, their primary income sources are Social Security, and then to bridge the gap to meet their needs, they're going to draw money from their investment portfolio. All right. So they started out with $1.3 million. You can see that on the left side of your screen. And we're going to plan this out to age 90. So this is 26 years. Now, the good thing is by looking at their situation, at the end of carving out different assets for different periods of time, they still have $260,000 that's left over. It's extra money. Well, we can take that extra money, and if we reinvest excess income, we're going to be able to take that money and we can grow it, let it run. That it averages 7%, you're going to have about a $1.9 million account. So Mark and Jane, they're not running out of money, which is great. Okay. The problem is you're going to see here in just a second, they're going to have to do something. At age 75, what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to do required minimum distributions. And you can see their income bumps up. But this is our target. We know based off the assets and the growth that they're going to have about $70,000 plus of required minimum distributions. How do you plan for that? Are you going to plan for that through a market-driven approach? Or are you going to use a holistic approach so you can take the portfolio and are not allowed to do the heavy lifting? Because right now, the investments are doing the heavy lifting to also manage those required minimum distributions. So again, this is the required minimum distributions for Mark out of his IRA account at age 75. What if we start adding some reliable, predictable income? Maybe we use a guaranteed annuity. And I'm saying this because you want to combine that with investments. And remember, guaranteed income is backed by the claims paying ability of an insurance company, but then you can take the rest of the money and you can grow it. You can put it in the S&P, you can put it in the NASDAQ. You can be a little bit more aggressive with those holdings. It's going to allow more of your assets to grow because you're not letting the investment portfolio do the heavy lifting in regards to required minimum distributions. What does that do for this client? Well, it's the same in regards to the 1.3 million, but look at the excess income. It's bumped up by an extra $100,000 to $360,000. If you take that money and you reinvest it over 7 years, now that account grows to 2.7. You're like, how did that happen? Well, it's allowing your investment portfolio to grow over time. Look at the required minimum distributions. It's higher. So it's now 95,000 instead of 70. That's $25,000 more income. And we're planning around that with a guarantee as well as a growth strategy in regards to their portfolio. Let your income be income, let your growth be growth. When you build that out, ask yourself this question: what could an extra $25,000 or more each year in annual income and $800,000 more in assets over your lifetime do with more money and income? See, these are the planning techniques that, if you use these rules with proper planning, can help ensure your lifestyle through your retirement years. My question to you is this: after seeing this, do you have a reliable income plan to handle required minimum distributions? The theory behind this is, a lot of times when we talk with people, how they handle the required minimum distributions is through a market-driven approach. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have that. All I'm saying is the key with a market-driven portfolio is you got to let it grow. If you're drawing money out of that account, you're not letting it grow. Using some sort of guaranteed income as a complement to handle required minimum distributions, and then you add that to your portfolio, well, that may create a better result. So many of you don't have that type of plan. It's something to think about as you approach or are near or even in retirement. Okay. Mistake number 2, not understanding how required minimum distributions work. So when you start thinking about required minimum distributions, let's use this example of a 73-year-old with $1 million in savings, and they have a couple different accounts. They have an IRA of worth $500,000. It's sprinkled in some different accounts. So an IRA that's worth $250,000, another IRA that's worth $250,000. And then we've got a 401k and a 403b. So total it's $500,000 there, spread out equally, but the total amount is $1 million. Okay. The required minimum distribution is just around $38,000. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, okay? So the question is this: can the IRA account address the RMD for the $1 million? The answer is no, you cannot satisfy the required minimum distribution out of just the IRA. Basically, how it works is this. The IRAs are its own category. So as long as there's money underneath this IRA umbrella, and let's say they calculate all the accounts and it totals $18,000, well, what that means is you have to draw $18,000 out of your basket of IRAs. It could go from basket one, basket two, you can take it all out of one account, but you have to take out that 18,000 out of that specific IRA. If you have a 401k or 403b, well, it has its own required minimum distribution. So if you have a 403b account, you're going to have to take out $9,400 from that account and $9,400 from the 401k. In essence, what they're saying is you cannot commingle. And so when it comes to required minimum distributions, the 401k, the 457, the 403b, those have to be taken separately. If the money is in an IRA account, that's a different program. You can take it out of one account, you can take it out of it separately, as long as it's under the IRA umbrella. Our clients usually move money into the IRA because of the flexibility of drawing money out of different accounts, depending on what the markets are doing. If things are good, we may want to take it out of a good growth account. If things have pulled back, we don't want to sell that growth account. We may want to take it out of something that has more stability. And so that's the value of having money in an IRA. All right, so let's talk about mistake number 3, failing to adapt to the Secure Act and the impact on your beneficiaries. The Secure Act requires most beneficiaries now to deplete their IRAs within 10 years. So what happened? Basically, under the old rules, non-spouse beneficiaries, children and grandchildren, could spread that tax liability over a long period of time, which was great. A lot of tax deferral. You could really save a lot of money in taxes. And Uncle Sam changed the rules. And now you have to take that money out over a 10-year period. And why did they do that? Because to a non-spouse beneficiary, they want them to start paying the tax, and they wanted to pay that tax within a 10-year period. So let's think about this from a standpoint of a big mistake. Do you believe that taxes in the future are going to go up? And let's talk about where we're at as a country. Currently, we're running about a $2 trillion deficit, meaning that on a yearly basis, we're spending more than we're bringing in. And then from a debt side, we're almost at $36 trillion. So something's going to have to give if we're going to want to start paying down our debt. And where can we go? Well, the biggest place is going to be right around these IRAs, 401ks, and 403bs. We're already seeing it right now. And so I had a client the other day, and they came to me and we did a plan. And from an income side, everything's okay. But when it came to passing that money to that next generation, what they saw is almost a 30 to 35% erosion due to taxes. So my client was saying, I'd worked 20 to 25 years of building it up, and now I'm going to see Uncle Sam take 30 to 35% away. Is there other options? And the answer is yes, but we got to take a look at it and see what makes sense for you, which is going to lead us to this next section, which is mistake number 4. Mistake number 4 is about tax strategies. And one of the big strategies that's out there is called Roth conversions. How do you take your IRA or 401k and convert it to Roth? And a lot of people just go into, oh, well, let's just go ahead and convert it. This is going to be great. And you're going to save a lot of money in taxes. And you are, but you're also going to pay a lot of money in taxes. You have to understand the impact that those conversions have on your overall retirement picture. So let's talk about that and different tools using a holistic approach to really optimize your overall game plan from a standpoint of taxes. So here's the deal. From the first day you contributed into your retirement plan, you made a deal with the IRS. There's no way around it. You had 10, 20, 30 years of deferral, and now you want to have your cake and eat it too. Well, it's not as easy to have that cake and eat it too. You're going to have to do a little lifting here when it comes to planning for saving money on taxes. Here's the truth about tax strategies. It's not about avoiding taxes. You're going to have to pay taxes. It's about paying taxes at the right time and at the right rate. And the other side of this is you have to have a long-term view when it comes to tax solutions. When you look at Roth conversions, tax efficient withdrawals, tax efficient strategies, life insurance retirement plans, charitable remainder trusts, most of you have heard of this concept called the Social Security break-even analysis. If I take it at 62 versus age 70, what's that break-in? Where does it cross over where maybe I should have delayed my benefit? Typically, that's going to be around 80, 81 years old. All right. Well, have you done the same analysis when it comes to a Roth conversion? Are you familiar with a Roth conversion break-even analysis? Here's how it works. The Roth conversion break-even takes into account a couple things. Number one, what does it cost to do the conversion? Okay, so that's the first part of this. The other part of this is what's the opportunity cost of taking that money and letting it grow? For most people, when you do that conversion, it's going to take as much as 20 to 25 years of tax-free growth to recover the upfront tax cost. Had a client, had $1 million. They wanted to convert this into a Roth IRA. It was going to cost them $300,000 to $350,000. Well, that's a lot of money. How long would it take to recoup that? Because $350,000, that's going to go away. You're writing a check to Uncle Sam. So if that's the case, then is it worth doing a Roth conversion? Everyone's going to be a little bit different. My point is, could you use that money and combine it maybe with different strategies? You have to dig a little bit deeper in regards to why are you doing the conversion to begin with. You can't just say, oh, I want to grow my money and I want to save money in taxes. Everyone wants to grow their money and save money on taxes. But you got to really go into why. What's the purpose? Why do you want tax-free income? So what we do is we take our clients to a tax-driven decision matrix. This is this holistic approach when it comes to optimizing your retirement income. So what's the goal? Do you want tax-free growth? Do you need a tax-free legacy? So do you want a bigger portfolio or do you want a bigger legacy? What if you need access to the funds? Do you want tax-free income? Maybe you're looking to cover long-term care. Are you charitably inclined? Do you want tax control? These are different goals that clients might have. Everyone has a different purpose. What are the strategies that apply to those goals? Straight Roth conversion, life insurance for legacy purposes, life insurance for tax-free income. Had this client, it had $1 million. It was going to cost them $350,000. We could recapture $300,000 of that $350 and put it back in his pocket and do it in a way where he would generate tax-free income. So if his net out of pocket was only $50,000 and he was going to convert $1 million, is that a valuable tool in his situation for tax-free income? Maybe it's for long-term care. I had a client who had purchased a cash account, a CD, and the whole idea was to grow that money, but they wanted it safe. Well, I asked him what was the purpose. It was like, I need to grow it, but I'm afraid because we might need the money for long-term care. Well, maybe we could take that and provide more benefits for long-term care, and it's all tax-free. Maybe you look at charitable planning with charitable remainder trusts or donor advised funds. So my point is, what's the strategy? When you look at it from a matrix standpoint, now you can start applying it based off of your goals and what you're trying to achieve. So for example, a straight Roth conversion, what's the benefit for growth? Is it best for growth and tax-free legacy? Yes, check mark. Is it best for tax-free income? No. If you need the income and you're doing a Roth conversion, then you are costing yourself a lot of money. You're extending that break even. Maybe you need it for long-term care. Is a straight Roth good for long-term care? No. And then is it good to pass that money to heirs? Yeah, because it's also tax-free. So you can see everything has its own purpose, advantages and disadvantages, right? Life insurance can be good, but there's a lot of fees. So everyone is going to be different. You got to determine what's right for you. The bottom line is this: when it comes to tax strategies, you got to make sure you do it right, and you do it right for the first time. You can't really go back. And that's the deal when it comes to tax solutions. You don't have to put all your eggs in one basket. That same client that I was talking about that had $1 million and they were going to convert it, it was going to cost them $350. Well, we did a combination of 2 or 3 different strategies. We did a Roth conversion for a portion of it. We took some money for legacy purposes, and we're also taking some money for long-term care. Once again, you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket. You can look at different tax strategies that's designed to optimize your overall plan. All right. Let's go to mistake number 5, which is about volatility and the investment portfolio. What we typically see is many people take unnecessary risk. If you don't want to outlive your money, you need to address volatility. That's the bottom line. Now, you have to have money that is going to grow over time. But what you need to realize is volatility can ruin your plans. The stock market is designed to transfer money from the active to the patient. All right, that's Warren Buffett. And what he means is let your income be income and let your growth be growth. So the key is time in the market, not timing the market. Remember, required minimum distributions, they're going to force you to take money out. So you need to start planning for that sooner rather than later. Think about it this way. From the S&P, Standard & Poor's, and FactSet, on a 1-year rolling average, the S&P is up 74% of the time. On a 5-year rolling average, it's up 83% of the time. So in the history of our markets, it's up 83% of the time. On a 10-year rolling average, it's up 92%. Well, those are great odds. Now we're looking at in the 90s. That's where we want to be. And then on a 20-year rolling average, and this is the Warren Buffett philosophy, you're not touching it, 100% of the time, markets are positive. So you have to have that mindset because this is what's going to help you keep up with inflation. The challenge, though, is you're having to take money out. And this is where the reliable retirement income plan comes into play. How do you still maintain control, but allow yourself to grow the rest of your portfolio? So you need to have the right balance. The bottom line is your retirement cannot serve 2 masters. In the long run, you can't say, I need it all for income and it's just going to be built for income. And we're going to have growth over time. It doesn't work that way. The other side of that is, let's put it all in the market. But if the markets pull back and you're having to take money out, that doesn't work either. So my point is you have to find the right balance. And if you can find that right balance between income and growth, then let it serve what it's supposed to do. Your retirement cannot serve 2 masters. It just doesn't work in the long run. And the biggest reason why is this concept called sequence of returns risk. What is sequence of returns risk? Well, sequence of returns risk is the risk that applies specifically to retirement income planning. And the concept is simple. It's the risk of negative returns occurring in your retirement years. If you're drawing money out of the account, market downturns can deplete your savings faster. And on top of that, the sequence of returns is beyond your control. You don't control the markets, but what you can control is the planning. And so let me go through this client that I met 3 years ago, and now they're a client today. And so Amy, I met her in 2021, and she built up a really nice nest egg, about $1 million. Her goal was to take out $50,000 a year so she could travel to Europe, help her grandkids' education. She just wanted to make sure she had enough to pay the bills. She didn't want to run out of money, and she wanted to make the most of her retirement. And I shared with her this idea of let's repartition some of the money into income and some other money into growth. And over time, this is going to give you the best opportunity for your money lasting. So we talked about it a little bit, and she decided, I think I'm going to go a different way. And I was like, that's fine. We're not a good fit. No problem. Towards the end of 2024, she jumped on one of my webinars and she set up an appointment. She said, Erich, I want to go ahead and move forward with the plan that you shared with me, where income is income and growth is growth. And I was like, great, I can do that. If you don't mind me asking, what changed? And she said, Erich, I don't want to go through what I went through the last 3 years. And I was like, what happened in the last 3 years? Well, she had seen prior to 2021 some real growth. The markets were on a rocket ship. She was making a lot of money, very little drops in the portfolio. Okay, so she's like, this is what got me here. Why would I do this? And what she realized was when you start applying that towards income planning, things can change. What she shared with me was her purpose was to make sure that she had enough money to meet her needs. And her plan was at the time, I'm just going to draw it out of the portfolio. Here's the problem. She started out in 2022 with $1 million, took out $50,000. What happened to the market in 2022? Do you guys remember what happened in the market in 2022? It went down like 20%. And so when it goes down 20% and you're taking out $50,000, you're eating at the seed that's supposed to feed you the rest of your life. She was down almost 25% in her overall account balance. What is she thinking? She's thinking she's going to run out of money. She didn't like that feeling. That's what she told me. She goes, this is nerve-wracking. I didn't expect this. Well, the good thing is the market the following year, it went back up, but it didn't get her back to even. It took 2 years to get back to even. And at that point, that's when she said, I want you to show me a plan that's going to be reliable from an income standpoint, but still let my money grow. And that's what we did. But that ride where it went up and down, she didn't want to go through that. So at the end of the day, what you have to ask yourself is just this. What's more important to you? A happy retirement or a happy portfolio? Take a second to answer that question. So many of you want a happy retirement. And there's some people that said, I want a happy portfolio. Awesome. If you want a happy portfolio, let me follow up with this. So that you can do what? What's your what? Is it just, I want the biggest portfolio in the world? I mean, you've got to have a purpose. So what's the purpose of your portfolio? It's not just about income. It's about the purpose for the money that you've worked hard for. These are the top IRA and 401k mistakes. How are you addressing these mistakes? Giving yourself more flexibility so you can have more confidence when it comes to your overall retirement plan. This is the reliable retirement income plan. This is what we do for our clients. You have to have a plan. And why does a plan matter? Well, a secure retirement doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design. If you don't have a plan, it's going to look something like this all over the place. And so when we do the reliable retirement income plan, it's an investment in your future. Are you serious about your future? Because I want to work with serious people and I want to help create an income stream that's reliable so you can build purpose for your future, for your family's future. That's what we do. The question you'll have to ask yourself is it worth it to you? Is it worth it where you could potentially generate more income, more wealth, more legacy? You're going to be able to do it with a lot less risk, and you're going to be able to save more in taxes. Is that worth it to you? The cost of not planning can far outweigh this small investment. I believe that if you don't have a plan like this, then you're behind. The best time to plan was yesterday. The second best time is now. And so I'm going to go back to the kitchen table where my mom and dad, they were sitting. And remember, I had to create a plan to give them confidence so that they wouldn't have to worry about where their paycheck was going to come in on a month in and month out basis. They just wanted to make sure that money was going to hit the bank each and every month and they can still let their portfolio grow. I know we talked about mistakes, but really I believe why you're here is you're looking to make sure that you're making the best decision when it comes to one of your biggest assets. And how do you transition from to retirement to through retirement? And so that's what we can deliver, is helping you feel 100% confident about that decision. And if this is something that you would like to implement, that's what the Reliable Retirement Income Plan is all about. Bring your spouse. Let's make good use of your time. Make sure your spouse is with you. You got to be willing to work with me virtually. We're going to identify your problems and challenges, and I want to learn a little bit more about your story as well. And then we're going to go from wealth to wealth. Everyone's like, what's wealth? Well, wealth is life experiences, the purpose. Why are you doing this? What is your what? So I want to help you go through that process because it's not just about building a big portfolio. Are we a good fit for you? But just as important, are you a good fit for us? Okay. If this is something that you would like to learn more about and ready to implement, set up a time. Hope you found this inspirational and informative, and I wish you the best in regards to your situation. I look forward to talking with some of you in the near future. Have a good one.